Can you attempt to join me, please? See if I can unmute you, Scott. Oh, you unmuted yourself. Hey, buddy. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Well, that worked
Good
great.
morning.
Thank you for joining me so quick. When you attempted to join, it pops up a waiting room category, and I can see who's waiting to enter.
Okay.
Very cool.
I wonder what that's like for, so what information, let me see. So you probably just saw me via email address.
Right, and I recognized your email address. So here's one thing I can do. I can stop your video. Let's see if you can re-enable it. You have the button there to enable your video?
Hold on, let me go back. Sorry, I was renaming myself.
That's okay.
Oops. You cannot start your video because the host has disabled it.
Okay, that's good to know. And so now my option is to ask to start video, and that may pop up something for you.
It does. It says the host has asked you to start your video. You could say later or start my video.
Okay, later start my video. That's good to know. So I can disable a user from broadcasting video completely.
Yeah, but I was able to turn mine on when I came in.
Yes, yes. By default, you can. I think I have it set up to turn yours on.
Can you default it to where you have to turn it on?
So what it's set to now is the microphone is on, but the video is off in case somebody's not quite ready to present themselves. But I can set it to where both microphone and video are enabled for users right when they join.
Well, mine was, I was able to turn myself on as soon as I joined. And I think that's what we want to prevent, right?
I'm okay if it's any of our core group that I recognize from the waiting room. I'm fine with them having their video or audio turned on at when they
As
start.
soon as they log in. My
Yeah.
problem is if we're having somebody brand new come in,
Mhm.
then again, it'll be the waiting room. You'll have to admit them and you could immediately disable at least the video.
Yes, and listen to their words and try to determine whether or not they are who we want them to be.
Okay. I know with Zoom calls, you can disable both video and audio for everybody coming in except for you, the host.
Mm-hmm.
I am not sure if you can be selective. Probably not. I don't think you'd be able to be selective about it. So it's either you're going to have to turn everybody on, or you're going to have to individually turn new people off, which that sounds more convenient for you to me.
Should work out okay. I hope.
I would have been here a little bit faster, but I was cleaning up the kitchen after cooking breakfast for the two of us.
Very nice.
Well, I did that egg toast thing that I taught you how to do
Yeah.
with
Those,
avocado, and this time I added bell peppers to the pan.
I've got some avocados that if I don't do something with soon, they're gonna go bad.
Uh, I sliced up the avocado, and so basically I have some sourdough bread rounds,
Hmm.
and I'd put those into the pan with some butter, cracked an egg in there. He wanted two, so I had to do two of each. And then I had thinly sliced some bell pepper and some onion, and I put that in there. And, just turned everything over and then put it on a plate and layered everything up. And then
I
for
don't know.
him, I bought him some Black Forest ham for sandwiches. And so I put that in the hot pan just to warm it up,
Mhm.
piled that on top of it, and then put the avocado on top of that.
I don't know why it made me smile when you said he wanted two. He's a hungry boy.
He's a big guy, and I asked him, I'm like, because he's not a big breakfast guy. Of course, it's brunch while it's lunch. And I was like, how hungry are you? And he's like, well, a little. And I'm like, okay, so, how much do you want? And he goes, oh, I could eat two. I'm like, going, no, you're hungry.
I
And he ate both of them. I only ate one and I'm full.
haven't had anything except for coffee creamer and a little milk. Got a hot cocoa here.
Good.
I will eat something after the meeting. Probably cook some eggs.
I told you about that dessert I did.
Yeah, I saw pictures of it, didn't I?
No, I did. We ate them too fast. I smushed some blueberries and mixed them in with some honey and um, a little bit of uh, water and cooked them down into almost a jelly, which didn't take that long. And then I mixed part of that up with some cream cheese, like whipped cream cheese that I
Hmm.
had in the fridge.
Yummy.
Um, I had some leftover puff pastries in the freezer, or puff pastry sheets in the freezer from Thanksgiving because I bought too much.
Yeah.
Thawed one of them out and smeared the cream cheese blueberry honey mixture across it, rolled it up, and tossed it on a baking sheet, baked it for like 20 minutes, um, pulled it out, and put the rest of the blueberry stuff on top of it. And in the meantime, I had also melted some for the holidays. Somebody had given me one of those bags of Lindor chocolate truffles. So I broke two of them up, melted that down, and then just poured the chocolate across the top.
I'm coming over to your house next time you're Thanksgiving. I'm coming over.
I literally just we'd gotten up from a nap and he wanted cheesecake, and I'm like, well, I don't have any cheesecake. Oh wait, but I can do this. It was totally off the top of my head. There was no recipe involved, none.
That's amazing. I did a
This is
little
how I
bit.
cook.
I did a little bit of impromptu recipe creation a few nights ago, and I was pleasantly surprised with the
Oh, the
outcome.
shrimp thing.
Yes, the shrimp. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I'm like, okay, shrimp, maybe a little spicy, and it just turned out great. I was so satisfied with that shit.
they looked really good in the pan. I was like, going, I'm gonna have to try that mixture of stuff.
It turned out great.
I'm doing.
It was great value, frozen shrimp, Walmart
It
brand.
doesn't. It really doesn't matter, like whether it's generic or what, as long as they haven't been in the freezer too long, they're fine.
Hmm.
So I'm doing we had bought while he was here the first time, we had bought a pretty big package of mushrooms that I'm trying to get. I need to use up. And so, like last night, we reheated some of the roasted vegetables I'd done the other day. But while he was in the shower, I sliced up the mushrooms, added a little bit of veggie broth and some Worcestershire with some uh, chopped onion and a little bit of diced garlic, and just let it simmer for about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And so you get braised mushrooms. You just have to watch the mushrooms to make sure that they're tender enough. So every once in a while you have to try a mushroom. Uh,
I see.
my my college roommate taught me that one. So that recipe is like, I don't know, nearly 30 years old. And I don't make it very often, but absolutely delicious. And I think I'm going to do it again but I'm also going to do a mushroom cream sauce. And I bought him 2 sirloin tip steaks.
I think if I have an onion, I need to get some mushrooms. I'm gonna try that mushrooms and Worcestershire.
You'll need a little bit. You'll probably need a little bit of broth, otherwise it gets a little bit too tangy with the Worcestershire.
Okay,
All
like
right,
a
isn't
raw. Add that to my
yeah?
list.
I mean, you could probably use quit that. You could probably use beef broth pretty easily.
Are you the person that told me about the Our Groceries app?
Yes,
I still use that. I love that app.
I don't. Yeah, I do too.
I forget to mark things off on it when I'm shopping, but I just love it.
I do too. I have a couple of things on my list. I'm like, I've already bought this.
Mm,
It's like, but it's better than trying to make a paper list and then forgetting it on the counter.
that's true, and it keeps my regular items that I add to the list. It keeps down there so I can re-add them quickly and easily. I just love that feature.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and it also has a
mushrooms.
feature which you wouldn't use right now, but you can have a shared grocery list. You can invite somebody and share the same grocery list.
Yes.
So Scott and I used to do that, and so we both put stuff on the list, and then I'd go to the grocery store, and then there were times I'd be standing in line to check out. That was before like self checkout was a big thing, and besides, you don't. Oh, somebody coming in.
Yeah. What's up?
Um, Amber.
Amber is connecting.
But I'd be standing in line and he would add something to the list and it would pop up. And it's like, I'm standing in line. I am not getting out of line and going back to buy that crap.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's pretty much real time.
Do you have a Walmart up there?
Yes, but I don't go to Walmart.
Okay. Okay.
Not unless I try not to. I went to Walmart quite a bit when I had kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
Because buying clothes and shoes, because he needed new shoes all the freaking time, was a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, not my fave.
I find some of their products to be adequate enough for me. I like their great value coffee, and then I buy more expensive coffee sometimes, but I like the Walmart brand for a lot of stuff. Um,
They're fine for certain things. It's more the crowds and the people
mm,
that I don't like.
yeah, I gotcha there completely. I was gonna ask if they do Walmart delivery. I haven't gone to a Walmart in a long time because I signed up for Walmart Plus, and then I got really hooked on that. As long as your order is above $35, it's free delivery fee.
You
And
let her in yet?
I have. I'm gonna have to change that setting about video. I think she may
I think you're gonna have to turn it on for her
starts are
because
muted.
she's
How
yeah
about
she's
now?
I can hear you now. Hi, Amber.
No, we don't need to go ahead and turn my video on for me.
oh
It's a
you're
request.
makeup's not done.
Makeup is not done, bitch. No.
Oh damn, I prefer to see you all made up.
I thought you were
Well,
Well, and
Usually I
actually, probably everybody else does too, right?
right.
I love seeing Amber, made up or not made up.
Oh, you're so sweet, John.
So,
No,
John, to answer your question, Walmart does have a delivery.
Mhm. Good.
Um,
oh God, yes.
my mother uses that periodically. I'm not sure what the terms are about around it, but
Yeah, they started delivering pretty much everywhere. Conway, Arkansas, where my grandmother lives, they deliver there now from a relatively small store. We have in Fayetteville, we have two big stores at the opposite sides of town, and if one is not available, then the other one is. So I haven't had a time when I needed groceries that I couldn't get them delivered that day. Um, I bring it up just because I fucking love it. I love sitting at home and making my little shopping list on my phone, and then the groceries arriving, and I never have to step into that store with so much imagery and color trying to catch your eye and get you to walk down that aisle. Um,
I
it
don't have to step into the store and see all kinds of stupid people in their pajamas that should not
that
be.
would be what, or in the summer that are wearing clothes that are totally inappropriate.
Oh my God, this past summer with the halter tops being the thing. Oh, let's just say there should have been a size limit.
Well, there is. It's 5XL.
That is not something that I should have laughed at.
I think we all have a little bit of that as the experience if we go to the Walmart every once in a while. We've seen a character or two that is wearing something that we don't feel is public appropriate.
Dude, in my grocery store yesterday, I did not know what to do. There was a person in line behind me, that was wearing pink shirt, um, had a decent sized bust, um, small feet and everything, but had long hair and a ZZ Top style beard.
Okay.
And I was just like, it took me back for just a second because I was like, if I need to talk to them, what do I say? And I figured on, they, them without knowing.
Um, it- that's when you walk up to them and go, "Girl, are you fashion conscious? Because this outfit does not work for you."
Well, usually there's something, when I see people and they have obvious things, like there was a gal that I worked with, she had been burned on her face. And so everybody asked her about her scarring and stuff like that. And she always wore these quirky t-shirts that had funny sayings on them or whatnot. And so that's what I would talk to her about every day is I was like, oh my God, that t-shirt is awesome. I want to know where I can get that. And she loved that I never once asked her about the scars because that's not how I like to see people. I like to see, you know, them, but also who they are projecting themselves to be.
Well, and I've got plenty of people that I've worked with, and the guy will come in and he'll have, a brown belt and black shoes. And I'm like, that doesn't work.
Mm.
Is that a reversible belt? Because if it's reversible, you need to turn it around the other way.
That just means that he's single and straight.
I was gonna add that.
Definitely straight. I went to high school with a guy, and he was one of the jocks and stuff, and it was really funny. He was colorblind, and so whenever his parents were on vacation and he had to pick out clothes for himself, he would come to school with we're talking like lime green polo and pink shorts.
Aw, he wanted to work for Sonic.
Uh, and so in our junior or senior year, he had ended up with a girlfriend, and when his parents were on vacation, she would come over and put together his outfits for him because he couldn't tell. He was completely colorblind.
Hmm.
Oh, was he really?
Huh.
Yeah, 100% colorblind. He
Oh,
just saw in black and white. So he
yeah,
couldn't even match his own socks.
that sucks ass.
I
I mean,
admit,
that's sweet that his girlfriend came over and took care of him.
it's kind of a silly behavior, but sometimes I will try and dress ugly or mismatching to reduce the chances that I'm perceived as gay. I want girls to know that I'm straight, and so I don't dress nice.
Okay, John, that's an insecurity on your part. There is
It
something called
is.
a metrosexual.
It
You can
is.
dress nicely and still be straight.
Well, people get confused. I don't know why. I put out a vibe, I guess, and people ask me, I'm like, I'm straight, even though I wear a pink polo or whatever.
Hey,
um,
back before like 1930, pink was for boys and blue was for girls.
yep.
Historical fact.
And I can back that up by saying I know that too. So, truth.
So speaking of color, let me show you all our new. I'm gonna mail one of these to you. It's gonna be full of business cards. Now you can see the color in my yellow light. Got a it is a magnetic close, and I think we'll probably be able to get 25 to 40 business cards in there. And each one of you are gonna get one of these. Oh, there you go. One of these.
Damn, I didn't expect that.
Tiny little
It's
Christmas present. As soon as I get the
it's our
card.
membership present. It's for being
It
a valued member.
It is, and I hope you see it also as a sign of trust that you would pull this out when you meet someone that you think might be a good fit for our meetings, might benefit. Like I trust y'all to present the card out, and
So what color is that? Because your lighting is horrible. It looked like a fabulous aubergine.
it's a fuchsia. It's purple. It's a light purple
It's an aubergine.
aubergine. Okay.
Okay, see, that's how we know that you are straight, John, is that you were trying to go with a fancy color and then you were just like, no, purple.
Yeah.
You have plenty of tells. Don't worry about dressing nice.
I've got 4 of them here, so I'll be carrying one of them too, and passing them out or in 2024. And I haven't decided, and we can talk about it. I haven't decided if there's going to be any kind of anything other than email and phone number as far as contact information. I'm probably not putting the meeting ID or the passcode on the business card or the promotional card. So that's as long as I've been working on it, it's got to change as well. So I'm going to keep working on it.
Well, and I didn't get a chance to pull it up, and this is being recorded. So, John, unless you want to edit this out, there's a I was going to put there's a meme going out with dirty Christmas songs, and there's a mashup. Dirty Christmas songs. I'll send it over to you just between you and I.
Okay.
But there's one that's a mashup of Santa Claus is coming to town and Halo. So it starts, Santa Claus is coming, and then it switch overs to Halo. And Amber, you might know exactly which line.
Oh God.
Oh, Amber got it.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth.
So I'll send that over to you separately.
I kind of want to see this now.
Let's see too.
He can share it with you. Oh, I see a cat in the background.
Do you? Yep, there he is. Level 1.
Yeah.
All right, so
Wait.
is James not joining us?
I think James might be sick today. He told me yesterday he was under the weather, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him today. So he might not be here. We can go ahead and start the content of the meeting. And I'm glad that you're both here because the last time we covered this topic, you were instrumental. I've got my notes from that meeting. So today's topic is sexual health and sobriety. And what we want to discuss is how substance can impact your promiscuity and possibly lead to decisions that you wouldn't otherwise make if you were sober. Um, got a lot of notes. Let me start with this. Some fun facts, or not so fun facts, about sex and intoxication. Substance can lead to, as I mentioned before, promiscuity, and that's an undiscriminating or an unselective approach to finding a sexual partner, or we could even just say a romantic partner. Maybe just someone that just wants to look at someone that might look pretty. The substance, and we can discuss how, in case someone is unfamiliar for how substance can impact your selective or unselective behavior. Um,
Well, John, I'll go ahead and just interject a little bit of an anecdote here. When I was in my early 20s and, going to college and going out to the clubs all the time, I had a general rule with my friends. We would walk around the bar, and I went, if I tell you that that guy is cute and I want to go home with him, I'm too drunk and you need to take me home.
and that's great unless your friend is more interested in seeing you get laid.
Well, fortunately, my
seeing.
friends, fortunately that only happened once. But that was my general rule of thumb. It's like, okay, let's walk around while I'm sober, see who's cute, see who's borderline, and see who I absolutely do not want to sleep with. And when I find the person that I don't want to sleep with cute, I've had too much alcohol.
I like that rule.
Alcohol can. Would you say it's true that alcohol can increase horniness or excitability regarding sex?
Definitely, although it can inhibit performance.
Loosens inhibition. Yeah.
You what?
I said it loosens inhibition.
It definitely does. It also reduces your ability to make judgments. Isn't there a song about beer goggle glasses?
I'm sure that there is. It sounds like a country hit that I haven't heard before, but yes.
But there is a thing, it's after there's a joke that goes around. What's the difference between a straight Marine and a gay Marine?
Okay, go.
A straight Marine.
A 6-pack of beer.
It goes great with Crown.
Oh, Crown Royale. Ooh.
No. Military joke. Sorry. My obscure humor.
So yes, but no. Alcohol is definitely probably one of the primary causes of
babies.
especially babies for younger people.
I am certain that alcohol has had a play in a lot of pregnancies and in babies.
I can give alcohol the credit for all 3 of my children. Just saying.
So one of them is named vodka, the other one is scotch, and the third one is rum.
No, I have scotch, brandy, and whiskey.
Oh, okay.
Jeez. I have classy names, okay? Okay, so aside from that, what do you want? I mean, would you say that that's pretty much done on that part of the topic of, yeah, we all agree that.
Well, yes, we've established that it impairs your judgment and can lead you to make decisions that you wouldn't otherwise make. And some people go for that. And I think that it's an element of their choice that they want to go out to the bar where they think they can meet someone that they can have sex with, and they want to get drunk enough there that they don't feel awkward. They feel more casual, maybe more confident, and able to hit on that guy that they have been eyeing, for an hour.
Or
Um,
girl.
it's a terrible part of the addiction when someone has a habit of going out to seek a sexual relationship, and maybe they state they have every good intention of meeting their next wife or their husband. I say next. But it's a terrible part of American culture, I think, and I have friends who kind of participate in that lifestyle, and I have in the past. I can admit that I have participated in that kind of behavior in the past of going out. Yeah, I'll tell you specifically. There was a good bar here in Fayetteville that was known to be kind of an alliance, a gay straight alliance type of bar where anybody could go and feel welcome. And I remember, let's see, I was probably 24, 14 years ago. I remember dancing on the dance floor and being intoxicated and dancing with the wrong girl, and all of a sudden, it's a scenario that I am both interested in and alarmed by, we'll say.
So this has come up in conversations before, and we could probably expand on it a little bit, but sometimes even if it's on a date where you're nervous, um, people use alcohol to help them relax. And if they go a little bit too far, then suddenly they lose all of their inhibitions and all of their judgment.
Yes.
That can happen in a bar as well. You go out, you're a little bit nervous because you're surrounded by a crowd, and so you have a few drinks, and suddenly you're having fun, and then you have a few more drinks, and then suddenly you find somebody cute, and then the next morning you wake up with a hangover and roll over going, who's this? What did I just do?
Yes. And
Well, and another thing that can prompt that type of behavior is people who have agoraphobia or social anxiety. I suffer from social anxiety a lot, and I get really freaked out about being around people. You would never know that just talking to me, but I get freaked out on the way to places. Once I'm there, I'm good, but on the way, if I have a chance to turn around and go back, I will. So I've always used it as they call it social lubrication.
So Amber, I've always described myself because I'm an introvert, but I've learned over the years with what my jobs have required, how to be an extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of it's, fake it till you make it. But if I'm in a very large social scene, you know, having a drink makes it a little easier to be more verbal and engaged with people.
Uh-huh.
But you have to watch how much you have, otherwise you're going to embarrass yourself.
Right. And so one of the things, because to me, even though I mean, reality is it's been quite a few months now, but to me, it seems like a very short period of time that I haven't been drinking. And so I find myself avoiding going to different things. Like I've been invited out to play to especially bars. Um, because everybody knows that I love going to our bar XY here. That's our LGBTQ plus community bar. And then I get invited to the goth things, and it's like between the two of them, everything is like centralized around bars. And so I've just had to stop going. I'm just at a vulnerable state to where it's not a good idea, but I also kind of pat myself on the back to be able to know that it's not a good idea for me to go. And if they want to see me, they can come over to my house and chill. And if they don't, then I know what kind of a friend they are.
So that brings up a slightly different discussion, and Amber, you'll probably be able to speak to this better than John will, um, especially in the LGBT community. There's not whole lot of places for us to gather. And sure, going over
Oh,
to
no.
somebody's place is great, but there is something to be said for being in a crowd where 20 people that you can hug, give them a kiss on the cheek, dance with them for a minute, and then go see somebody else.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And
that
there's
is
just no other place to do stuff like that.
that is the absolute downfall of that scene is because every place is focused around a bar. And I have so many people that I only know through that scene, through the bar scene, um, that I would never anticipate them coming over to my house. And I miss them. I miss going out. I miss all of the fun. There's a fantastic guy here that I don't know how he does it, but he covers his whole body in glitter and just wears a Speedo and goes around.
I would hate to see his home.
I'm hoping that he has.
I'm sorry. Glitter is the herpes of the crafting world.
Yes, it is, dear. But I miss doing things like that. And I'm with you, Scott. There's not much that you can go and do that isn't surrounded by a bar if you're a part of that scene or if you want to be with that scene. And that sucks.
Well, for dating purposes, and John, you can probably speak to this too. When you get a little bit older and you get out of the bar and club scene,
Mhm.
you basically have apps
You have apps,
or
you have the grocery store, the library, maybe the movie theater if you go to movies alone. There aren't a lot of places to meet people generally in my perspective.
unless you've got a hobby
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
unless you do volunteer work, and that is a little harder for the LGBT community because the odds of us meeting somebody are a bit less.
Yes.
I was just going to head on that point, Scott, because okay, it in the community, I'm bisexual, and so if I were out at the club and were to see another female that I was interested in, I would be a lot more comfortable going up to them and talking to them because I know that they're already in a safe space. The idea of going up to someone in a grocery store or the library where I don't know which way they go,
Mm.
that is scary as hell. And I would not do that. And I can say that from a straight perspective, I wouldn't mind going up to a guy who is in the grocery store or the library, but a girl would freak me out.
Yeah, and I brought this up because I just saw a really cute story on Twitter. And I'm now following the person who did it because it's like I want more deets. Um, and he was in a coffee shop using their Wi-Fi for work, and it was crowded. And um, somebody else sat next to him and started talking to him, introduced himself, and it ends up they're going to have a date going forward. Two guys.
Nice.
So guess what city it's in, though?
What?
Well, if you're going to San Francisco,
San Francisco.
yep,
That yes.
Yeah, see, that's not fair.
because it's a city where it's a little bit more comfortable.
Well, I can say that here in Kansas, I have well, she's moved to Colorado now, but I had a trans friend who drove 2 hours to come into Wichita because we're the biggest city inside Kansas. Kansas City, fuck you people. Half of them are in Missouri, so it doesn't count. um, but we're the largest city in the state, and so everybody comes in to go to the clubs and to hang out. And if we didn't have as many LGBTQ friendly uh, bars here in Wichita, they would have no place to go. And that also puts people in like a risky, dangerous situation.
Well, it's, with my with my mother and my sister living in Arkansas, and I've visited them, and I'm like, I wouldn't be comfortable living here.
Oh,
There's
right.
just there's just not. I don't want to end up like Matthew Shepard.
No, I completely agree with you. And I used to live in Bentonville, so just north of where John is, and there were not very many places where there were bars or anything that were friendly. God, I can't speak English today.
You're okay.
My
You're doing a
English
great
has
job.
stopped.
So, okay, so going back to our topic, I think we've covered the alcohol and bar scene pretty well. John and I were talking earlier about the party and play scene.
Party and play.
Um,
Yes, I'd like to discuss that. So maybe there's a listener who has not heard of party and play before, but essentially it's a phrase that's used, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, it's probably used both in person, but especially in online hookups and chatting apps where you're meeting potential partners. Party and
it's
play,
usually abbreviated as PNP.
ENP. It basically means you are going to, the scenario would be uh, that drugs, very possibly methamphetamine or cocaine or similar, um, would be used to enhance sexual activity, to enhance sex. And it's more common than you might think that people seem to enjoy getting high. I don't think it's used for alcohol. Alcohol is outside of the party and play, to the best of my knowledge.
I
But
would agree.
specifically, I think methamphetamine, introducing methamphetamine into the system somehow, and then having sex with the idea that it is accentuated. The dangers are one primary danger I feel is it leads to promiscuity or lack of selection in the partner themselves and more interested in, oh, this person does the same drug that I do, so I'm down to do drugs and have sex. Uh, it it could lead to just a really scary situation should that other partner be mentally unstable, and then you're adding in intoxicating substances on top of that. Um, if if you use a party and play method to enjoying sex, I feel, and it's just my little opinion, but you're setting yourself up for riskier and riskier sexual activity. The chance of you catching an STD increases. The chances, I think that the chances of, I hate to say police, but also slightly the chances of you needing the police to protect yourself, or needing them to help resolve some kind of, maybe you invited over someone who's a kleptomaniac and steals something very valuable and precious to you, and you have to file a police report over that. If you avoid the party and play method to enjoying sex and instead become very selective and meeting a partner when sober, and when you both can get to know each other without using substance to enhance your personality or your consciousness experience. If you, I find, I want to believe that it's going to be more rewarding and enriching of an endeavor as a whole, and certainly uh, for the sexual activity itself, for the sexual encounter. Um, I like thinking that I keep this sober mind in my selection, that's going to turn out to be a better sexual experience, and hopefully increase the chances of it actually becoming a relationship if that's a thing that I choose to want. So what are your thoughts about that?
Also, on that last statement,
Mm-hmm.
talking about, enhancing the chances of you having a relationship, um, party and play increases the chances of that walk of shame the next morning.
Yes, yes, the
Uh,
feelings afterward.
uh, and so it's not good for your mental health. Um, sure, it may enhance the physical pleasure that you're having at that moment in time. But I don't feel like it's good for people mentally or emotionally. Um, and as you also alluded to, it also increases chances for STDs. And Amber, please forgive me, but I will include pregnancy as an STD.
Oh yeah.
Um, Fortunately, it only takes 9 months to cure.
Well, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah, please do, because that brings politics into it, and we're not going to discuss that one.
Okay, good.
Exactly.
So I guess for all of our listeners or viewers out there, if you are engaged in stuff like that, I would hugely recommend regular testing. With most things, catching it yourself is easily treatable. But would you really want to give it to somebody else? And if you're not getting tested, then there are things that can do huge long-term damage to your body. And if you don't know that you have it.
Yes, not knowing, um, while it might seem innocent that, oh, I didn't know that I had this, and I'm really sorry that I gave it to you. That might get you out of the loop, get you out of the hole a little bit. But if you're going to be having, let's say, especially lots of sex, let's say more than 5 to 10 partners per year, that's a lot of potential spreading that you could be doing. And if you just
What?
go to the doctor, then you will know that you haven't caught anything in the last few months.
First of all, John, exactly what scene are you in? Because 5 to 10 a year?
That's my little perspective.
Wow.
I don't have a lot of sex. I don't have a sex life.
I'm just sitting there going, 5 to 10 a year? That's, that sounds like you're in college.
Oh, were you
I
saying
was gonna say, which direction are you going with this one, Scott? Are you saying that's a low number or a high number?
No, that's definitely a high number for somebody his age.
it is a high number? Okay, okay.
Oh, well, shit. So
What a funny conversation. um,
And I'm like, and he's in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'm like, and I'm in like Seattle. I'm like, I'm not getting that much.
for the
and
record, I
I'm
don't
in
desire
Dudok,
5 to 10.
Kansas.
What'd you say, Amber?
I said, and I'm in Dudok, Kansas. So apparently in the Midwest, we just like to have a little different type of fun.
Okay, we're not talking about cows here, right?
No. Oh,
Okay,
God.
just making sure.
No farmyard animals will be involved. Ugh. Um,
Can we also
It,
bring up the term chemsex? And maybe Scott, if I can ask you, is chemsex different from party and play?
It is not.
The
It's
same
the
thing?
exact same thing. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's just a different term for it. I I would agree with you. Both party and play and chemsex usually refer to meth, occasionally coke. Um, I'm not aware of any other drugs that it applies to. Um, but I could definitely be wrong on that.
Okay. Um, Obviously, that could be 2 people, or that could be 5 or 10 people. It could be chemsex or party and play. It could be a literal multi-person party and play.
Yes,
Uh,
it certainly can. That's why it's also important to and Amber, you and I have talked about this before, but you know, there's things that you can do to protect yourself if you're into that scene. You know, condoms, no, nobody likes them, but yes, they work. Um, there's
yeah.
also for females, birth control of some form.
If you live in particular cities, you can buy female condoms. It's something that I was able to get when I was in Dallas, and they're based off of the design
For dental
for
dams.
no, for the women in Africa where they have a high concentration of rape in their country,
hmm.
except theirs are barbed so that they can get DNA evidence because there's so many rapes there.
That's yeah, I've heard about those. Those there are those memes out there where and where a vagina has like teeth.
Yeah.
And
Horrible.
it's based on that to help prevent rape, but they can also they do have some out there um, that are designed if the guy doesn't want to wear one, the woman has one. Um, you know, there's also the pill, there's the depot, there's an IUD for pregnancy purposes. When it comes to HIV, everybody can take and they have generics out now, but Truvada, which helps prevent HIV, um, and um, then there is also doxycycline, which if you think you've been exposed to syphilis, gonorrhea, or chlamydia, you can take that post-exposure and prevent you from having that infection. So
Um, and even
all of those require a discussion with your doctor, though.
Well, I was going to say, even some of those ones you do have symptoms of it, because I, unknowing to me, had caught something from a boyfriend when I was a teenager. And I was able to, it was just chlamydia, and I was able to take an antibiotic and was okay, thank God. But
If you take
uh,
most of those within 72 hours, similar to Plan B, um, then it prevents you. It's basically proactive medication.
yeah.
Hey, I might have caught this. Let's just go ahead and dose me so that I don't have to go through all of the symptoms.
Those are good medications to know about, and definitely to talk to your doctor, so that you can get them if you think you might be needing them or at risk. I take a antiviral medication to control my herpes. I take it every day. I've been told not to by a friend, but my doctor gives it to me. Gives me a month's supply, so I don't see any reason why not to take it. Haven't had an outbreak in like 15 years, but still I take it most every day just because I don't ever want to experience an outbreak. It's painful, uncomfortable. I don't have any sex partners, but I still take it. Um,
Well, because you never know when you might.
Correct, and
Yeah.
I don't want an outbreak to ever throw a wrench in the engine. Can I
Well, and
ask? Go ahead.
I do want to add to this conversation for our viewers who haven't seen this. Studies have shown that pretty much everybody in the United States who's ever had sex has been exposed to HPV. And so there is a vaccine that you can get if you're under a certain age to help prevent that. HPV can cause some serious types of cancers, especially in women, but also in men. And then I believe, Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that like 60% of the people in the US probably have herpes and don't know it.
I thought that it was a little bit higher than that, but
It
we'll go.
might be.
It's incredibly high.
If you've ever had a cold sore in your mouth, you've had herpes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good way of being able to explain that one.
Um, can I ask about to change the topic just a tiny bit, but selecting a sex partner versus selecting a life partner, and then the complications that substance, whatever substance it is, but the complications that uh, substance can add to that process of selection, whether you're interested in a one night stand and you're going out to find someone who's also looking for a one night stand, or you're looking for someone who is looking for long term love, we'll say. Maybe not marriage, but a real long term relationship. And just to put my 2 cents in, I feel based on my history with individuals with substance use problems, they've really complicated. Uh, they've really complicated my desire to have a wife, a long term life partner. When I've chosen a partner that maybe used a little bit of cannabis and sometimes a little bit of coke. The one I have in mind, she did drink a lot of alcohol. There were just many complications to our relationship that I felt wouldn't be there if it weren't for the substances involved. Um, any any thoughts
That's a
on that?
Yeah, that's a tough one, John. I think a lot of it depends on the individuals involved and possibly the level of their addiction and usage. I mean, you know, I'm going to go ahead and use alcohol and marijuana as an example. But you know, you can be addicted to those, but only do them in the evening for a little bit, but it's probably every day. So technically, you're still addicted to it, even though your usage is light, but it enhances your relationship between the two of you. There's also on the other extreme, there's if somebody in the relationship is doing so much that you never actually get to know their real personality, then you're never going to develop a real relationship.
That's a good point. That's a good point. If you're experiencing someone on a substance and they're constantly intoxicated and their personality is so greatly changed, just putting into different words what you just said, but yes, you're not in a relationship with that person's very soul, that person's very nature. You're in a relationship with an alcoholic or an addict or
There's difference between being in a relationship with an addict and being in a relationship with their addiction.
Yeah, I would agree with that because my second husband, while he did not drink, smoke, do drugs, um, he had an addictive personality, and it was something that I did not like about him at all. I know you
So,
guys
and
are going, what? So what was it? Um, so his issue was more with mentally trying to set up scenarios and situations where he could play victim to. And that was the behavior that he had grown accustomed to, everybody catering to him. And he found that as an addiction. And so the more that people were around, the more that
He had
they,
to be the center of attention.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, I won't say that I won't say that any sort of substance couldn't enhance a relationship if done in moderation. I will say that if it's not done in moderation, it definitely interferes with or even really prevents a relationship from forming, or at least a healthy relationship.
Agreed. I agree. Um, I think about my longest relationship over the last 10 years, and the onset of it started with a lot of substance use, and that's how it developed and carried on, and of course it led to problems later on. Um, but I just want to not preach, but I want to promote uh, total sobriety in getting to know someone so that you have your full awareness and are able to pick up on little cues and hints, maybe red flags, instead of being intoxicated and so willy nilly that you overlook those red flags or those social hints that they may let on. Um, I want
So
to
and
promote that here.
I
Um,
would say, like, depending on your personality, and you know, um, if you have an addictive personality, you need to stay away from anything that's going to trigger that. If you don't have an addictive personality, then having a glass of wine with your date is not a problem. Um, with me, I, I know for a fact that if I start to drink hard liquor, I'll probably have too much. Not that I have to have it every day or all the time, but if I start, I'm going to have too much. If I have a glass of red wine, yeah, it's probably one.
Chances are good that you'll finish the glass about the same time you finish your meal. And there's a lot to say about having a glass of wine with dinner versus shots without dinner on a date. I think generally that what you're describing, a glass of wine with dinner, is a more controlled indulgence and is generally going to be a lot safer for your social life and everything else than two shots, we'll say, of whiskey or what have you. Um, I'm not against alcohol use. I'm against its impact on somebody's life and how it can negatively impact their life. Um, I have my own substance problems. Um, I keep cannabis in the house, keep it very close to my computer. It does impact my social performance with others on the computer. So before meetings, I try not to indulge, try to avoid that if I have any kind of online event or meeting or anything like that. Um, I think that a substance such as cannabis or maybe a little bit of a carefully selected alcohol could enhance a conversation. I'm not. I don't want to argue that it could not enhance an evening, which then it makes up part of a relationship. Um, but when
So,
it's
John, you
Mhm.
you and I've talked about this before. I mean, I
Yes,
I have a problem separating um, my life and work. So I ended up having to get a second phone line, one that was just for work, and one for me to use for personal use, so that when I go out with friends or go to see family or go out on a date, that I'm not constantly getting emails and notifications from my job, because that interferes with my personal relationships with people. Substances do the exact same thing. You know, have you ever, this is a personal question and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Um, have you ever had plans to go out and then done so much stuff that you had to cancel?
Yes, yes, I'm certain I have. Felt too much anxiety or uncomfortability, thinking about what the other person or people might think of me if they see that my eyes are really bloodshot, and if I kind of have stoner talk, or maybe it's a different substance. I have canceled meetings, especially with family members, because I just didn't want them to know that I was getting that messed up. And that's usually in times when I've been uh, experiencing heavy addiction and no control, um, smoking maybe 2 or 3 joints a day. If I smoke 3 joints in a day, I can't have dinner with my mother at the end of that day, unless she and I've had conversation during the day. That can help. But yes, there have been plenty of times when I just like I can't social right now. I just can't. Um, I sympathize with anybody who experiences some social anxiety, because I have in the past tried to use substance to alleviate my nervous feelings and my concerns about judgment, that other people will judge me particularly. Um, and I like that you both have brought up behavior, addictive behavior, um, that doesn't necessarily have to involve substance, um, but that does have solutions, um, so that one can curb their addictive behavior. I've got addictive behaviors myself I'm trying to curb, that aren't related to substance. So I'm glad we're talking about that, because we're blurring the line eventually, uh, between all addictions, I think, and bringing them down to the power of the mind and power of control over your words and your actions. Um, and with behavior, that's very important. Um,
I think what the topic today boils down to is that, just as you just to rephrase what you just said, um, substance abuse basically affects your behavior, and I'll add judgment to that.
Well,
And oh, go ahead, Amber.
well, I was going to explain a scenario of my own, that is the negative side, not just sexually, but negative side of my alcoholism. Is I got a DUI in January of last year, and I finally went to court for it this week. So I found out that I have to be on probation, and if I'm not on probation, I go to jail. Um, if I go to jail, I have kids that can't be taken care of, and um, a whole house that is dependent on my money. So it's that's something that'll sober you right up. I've had
There,
mornings of waking up beside someone and going, "Who are you?" um, but nothing has been as sobering as this.
yeah, there are definitely legal consequences to addiction.
Oh yeah, and mine, the whole thing with that, it started because I had to go out and I had to socialize with people, and that I have very bad social anxiety, and so I had decided to drink before getting out on the highway, and that was so stupid, so stupid.
And I know at least John, you and I have talked about this before. And maybe you can go back to the text I sent you earlier this week. It's important to have people around you who will tell you when you need to stop.
Oh yeah.
I remember an eye-opening phone call when I was high on methamphetamine. I called James actually, and he said, "You sound crazy. You sound fucking crazy. You sound." I think he said, "You sound fucking nuts." And I said, "Oh, okay. Maybe I'm way more fucked up than I think I am if I sound nuts to one of my closest friends." But yeah, it is important to have those people around you that can help you avoid the pitfall that might be right in front of you. Amber, I'm
And
really, really sorry
and to
about.
avoid the people who are going to encourage you into that pitfall.
Yes, yes. Um,
Yeah, as far as the pitfall with myself, there was nobody there to be responsible for me but me. And that's, I think, why I take a harder line in the sober field, because like you guys were talking about, oh well, you could just have a glass of wine and that would be okay. Wine was my go-to. And
Well,
so
and I worried about it when I said that because I know that was your go-to. As I said, as I tried to say, it really depends on you
yes, it
as
depends
to
on the person.
but I've encouraged John, I've encouraged other people. I'm like, you know, if you're messed up, first of all, call me. If I can drive there and pick you up, I will. You might get a lecture on the drive home, but I'm going to make sure you get home safe. Sorry, that's the dad in me.
Yeah.
Um, if you're struggling with it and you haven't done anything, then call me first. You're not going to get a lecture. We're just going to talk and figure out what's going on and why you feel like you need that extra drink, you need that extra line, you need that extra joint, whatever it is. And you need those people in your life to help you through it. That's the friend that, when you're over to their house and you've had a little bit too much to drink, they're like, give me your keys, you're sleeping on my couch.
it alters your mentality, your like we mentioned, inhibitions. It alters your judgment, and so it's easy to accidentally have too much and get out of control. If you
And not
have
realize that you're there and not realize that you're that way,
and not
which
realize
Amber was
that you're at
probably
that
your
point.
situation.
That's right. And I want to say that not everybody, myself included, I don't really have that many friends around me that come over that I can go to a place with, and so I want to admit that just not everybody. One, not everybody's going to have the control with the substance itself, and so they're going to be able to get out of control. But two, solutions that we're suggesting to them might not be readily available to them, but if you do have a friend and you can take them to a party and they're a trusted friend that you know is not going to pull out some cocaine, um, take that friend with you. Dear God, take your friend instead of going alone, because that can. In the military, we call it a battle buddy, and it's basically it's, somebody else in uniform who is able to help you resolve troubles, any issues that you might arise. You kind of resolve them together instead of taking it to the next level of authority. If you have a friend, a buddy that can say, "Hey, you want to have that fifth drink," or maybe even just stall you from going out quite so quickly at all, and just make sure you have a good mentality. That can be the difference between jail and coming home safely.
Coming home at all.
Coming home at all.
I was about to say that could be the difference between not making it home, or even worse, somebody else that's on the highway with you, them not making it home.
Yeah, because that's usually how it works is the drunk person is so lucid, they walk away just fine. It's the other people who end up dying. Which I don't know about you guys, that is not something that I want to have on my conscience.
No, that's same here.
Well,
Um,
so the main reason of me bringing up what I did is just to say, okay, this is why I have a harder line drawn on where it's just a black and white issue with me with my addiction. Like,
I think if you've got an addiction, it should be a black and white line for you. If you do not have an addiction, then there's a tiny bit of a gray area, but it's very easy to develop an addiction. And so you need to monitor that.
and so there's also the very few people that are listening to this that they're listening to it because their partner has an addiction. And they may be trying to figure out how to handle things, how to talk to them about that scenario. And John, I would love to delve into that a little bit more in like a longer segment.
yes.
Sorry, I was using my hands, which you can't see. Ha ha ha. Um, but when you are with someone who has an addiction, it is so hard to tell them that this is really destroying the relationship that you have with them, and having to be the bad guy and tell them hey, no drinking or no drugs, no this, no that, whatever it is. And I want people to know that we are also here to help support you guys who are going through that, who are trying to get someone help and get them to where they need to be.
So I'm gonna write that down and make sure that we have that meeting the next opening in
And
January. We'll have it on supporting family and friends of addicts and alcoholics.
okay, that would be a good one. Amber, I'll ask you since it's a month away. I know at one of our recent meetings, not the one that got nasty bombed last weekend that I wasn't at. Um, glad I missed that one. But one of the ones before that, you had mentioned that your husband still drinks
Right,
and you're not. So
right.
I think that needs to come into that discussion about at what point does the entire house need to go completely clean and dry
Hmm.
versus what's acceptable.
No, I completely agree. That would be a good subtopic for the next time around that we talk about this.
Okay.
We could add that on to supporting family and friends. Toleration level, maybe what level you would tolerate someone else's
Well,
addiction.
Amber's situation, I think that based in please correct me if I'm misremembering, but I think that because your go-to is pretty much wine and his is pretty much beer and you hate beer,
Hmm.
it's not a problem. But if you
Um,
both like wine, then it could be a problem.
I I will say this much that I do like wine and I hate beer, but if I see him have a beer and I know that I can't have wine, there's the little monster in me that is just like,
It's a
why
little
does he
trigger.
get to? No, it's like, why does he get to have this? Why does he get to be okay with drinking? And why can't I just be okay with drinking? And so it just puts this nasty little monster in my head.
Do
And I hate it.
you feel you have resentment like at this time?
No,
Resentment for that reason?
I
Or and then I'm going to add on to that before you answer that, Amber. Do you feel like you're jealous that he has a little bit of control, whereas you don't?
that's exactly what I was going to say, Scott. It's not that I'm genuinely mad. It's really that I'm jealous that I don't have that level of control myself. And it my poor husband, I don't know how many times that has probably put me in a snit of a mood, and he will have no warning or even I don't even know if he knows that he does that. I may have to go talk to him after I get off this.
Well, I would definitely say, and John, for your notes for that particular meeting, go ahead and put down that communication is a key thing between partners in that situation.
Yes. I'll do a lot of research on this topic before we do it.
I'll do some as well once you post the topic, and then I'll go back to Discord, and we've got a spot on Discord to store notes, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And I'll try to put some notes on there about what I find or my thoughts as well.
There's a channel called Meeting Planning, and that's a great place to put some of these, some of our ideas and what we may find online in research. Okay. About 3:10, I'm gonna close the live stream, and we can continue to talk if you have time, or we don't have to. There was there was an event that happened last week. We've taken some steps to
Are you still recording?
Prevent it from happening again. No, let me stop the recording.
Recording stopped.
And I will stop the live stream now. Thank you for joining.